Oh, we just lost.
What?
God, son of a bitch.
Hi. Um, so I, well, see, it's complicated. Hell, I got Doom, okay? I just had to have it.
Here we are, once again back into the fray, which is Doom Guy's Rage. Rip and tear. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'll be pretty much going over every last tiny thing about this game. Everything. Because it deserves to be talked about in that amount of detail. So let's go ahead and dig in. Dig in. Ah, that's more like it. First off, the story. The very thing that has been dividing certain players and fans, apparently, is the increase of cutscenes and dialogue. Personally, I didn't mind it one bit. I loved this extra bite of narrative that had always previously lacked in Doom, aside from maybe 3. The plot itself is still simple and easy to understand. They just added more depth and to the events going on during that and the lore as well. But if you're thinking what I think you're thinking, don't worry because Doom Guy's role and character remains unchanged. He's still the most badass, most invulnerable, tough killing machine he's always been. They didn't, quote, turn him into a softy with a human heart. He's still the same careless, inexcused, unstoppable motherfucker that not only demons but pretty much anyone with a heartbeat is scared shitless of. Overall, I loved pretty much every area in the game, from Earth to Mars and back to hell again. I especially loved the Earth levels though. They did a tremendous job of making you feel like you were slowly taking back your home planet. Whether you're fighting in an office building or rooftops or in the streets or even a parking garage. If Doom 2016 is to the original Doom, um, then Doom Eternal is to Doom 2 Hell on Earth. There's no mistake there. It really does feel like a reboot of Doom 2 Hell on Earth. Similar to Doom 16, all the levels in the game are open-ended and can be replayed through mission select. There are tons of different secrets, collectibles, and unlockables like codexes that give more backstory. There's toy figurines, cheat codes. I actually haven't experimented with that. I want to get to that. There's albums of songs from other id games that you can listen to. There are extra lives, which are mainly there to make permadeath playthroughs doable. There's a permadeath mode in this one where you can still use up the extra lives that you find. And, of course, colored keys. What kind of a Doom game wouldn't have these? Look, there's even a level that requires all 3 color keys in order to progress through a single exit. Now, if that ain't nostalgia, I don't know what is. The game brought back radiation suits so you can travel in toxic waste without getting hurt, but unlike the original games, the suit's effects never wear off until you actually travel in the waste, which is really cool. I only wish that it lasted longer. One full charge of rad resistance only lasts you about 15 seconds or so when you're actually utilizing it and moving in the waste. There's also swimming underwater that was previously featured in, oh god, Quake 1. But these areas, though, are very few and the controls are a little messed up. For some reason, you feel a lot of resistance when trying to return to the surface. There are also plenty of hidden combat challenges like these Slayer gates, and doing all of these unlocks the Unmaker rifle from Doom 64, Unfortunately, I missed one of these, and I'm gonna have to go back. I want that Unmaker. Um, as well as plenty of different mods and upgrades, which I'll get to later. I clocked in a little over 15 hours when I beat the campaign, but again, I also missed quite a few things. I highly encourage you to search everything as much as you can on your own, as all of the Sentinel Crystals, Praetor Token, runes, and Megaspheres will really help you keep an edge in firefights later on. The upgrades are really worth it. It will most likely take you at least 20 to 25 hours to 100% the whole campaign. The Fortress of Doom is like your main hangout spaceship hub in between missions. Here you can explore what is essentially your home. Everything you've collected in-game can be found here. You got your toy shelf, all your mounted guns on the wall, all your collectible heavy metal albums ready to be played in the background, and rooms that reward you that you can unlock with Sentinel batteries that you also collect throughout the game. Yep, pretty soon after I've gotten absolutely everything there is, I'll have one cool looking decked out man cave. Or Doom man cave in this case. Doom guy cave? Man Doom cave? Caveman Doom? The combat is another aspect of the game that is done a bit differently from its predecessor, and has been reasonably criticized by the community. To put it simply, the game finally makes it so that you have to strategize a bit. The whole shoot it till it dies rule doesn't really work well this time around, as you now have to chainsaw smaller enemies on a regular basis to restock on ammo for the more powerful demons, and also performing glory kills to restock on health, and killing enemies that you burn to restock on armor. I hated all this at first because I was so used to having everything offered to me at my disposal. In this game, ammo, health, and armor are unusually scarce for a Doom game if you don't take chainsawing and glory killing cannon fodder into consideration. They also seem to have replaced Berserk with blood punches, which build up by doing enough glory kills when enemies are stunned. So, before I started learning how to dance with these new mechanics that I will admit are forced upon you, I had a really tough time with this game even on lower difficulties. It starts out very challenging, and by challenging I mean you encounter the Arachnotron on the first fucking level. But it does appropriately get easier and easier the more you adapt, as well as unlock more guns, upgrades, and abilities. It is thanks to the insane amount of weapon mods that more than redeem the flow of combat, whether you are using the machine gun's sniper rounds, or the chain gun's protective shield, or the rocket launcher's homing missiles, or the new ballista rifle's slicer that cuts everything in half, or the classic super shotgun's meat hook to close the gap and get up close and personal. Pretty much every weapon mod is incredibly effective against specific types of enemies. Even the normal shotgun that the game starts you off with has automatic...
Whoa, wait. There's no pistol? That's bullshit. How dare they get rid of such an essential part of the Doomslayer's arsenal? I mean, it's like the least obsolete weapon in the entire franchise.
Speaking of amazing variety, have you seen the enemy variety? This game features every demon there ever was in Doom 1 and 2, including but not limited to Revenants, Mancubi, Invisible Pinkies, Barons of Hell, lesser cyber demons called Tyrants, I don't know, and Archviles, which spawn infinite enemies until it is slayed.
Even the Icon of Sin, aka John Romero, is in the game. And yes, you have to defeat him. Again. Okay, maybe it's not John Romero, but it could be someone else we don't know yet. We're still trying to figure that out. Man, I need to quit smoking.
Doom Eternal also includes many other new enemies, almost all of which I can't remember what they're named, like these snake Medusa things that are annoying as hell. These fat dudes on rollerblades that do nothing but throw energy shields at you. You can explode any energy shields with your plasma rifle, by the way, and there are also these tank-looking mini-bosses that sort of resemble the Sarge from Doom 3. My personal favorite, though, are the fierce marauders that can only be hit when they're about to attack you with their axe. You need to counter these guys. Any other window, and they can block whatever you throw at them. So it was really nice to see how they handled all the demons in the game. And most of them have their own weaknesses and weak spots that you can exploit, as well as having the occasional environmental death traps to make use, like crushers. Sometimes hitting weak spots, though, will feel a little too stressful as you're being bombarded with like 10 other enemies at the same time. It's hard to focus on one thing when you really want to focus on everything. So the combat took some time for me, but I got used to it, and then I started loving it. What I don't love, however, is the platforming. My god. The platforming in this game is so frustrating. I understand it's not NES difficult, but it's still difficult for someone who isn't that good at platformers who just wanted to play a fucking shooter. And, I don't mind the wall climbing, or the double dashing, or even the monkey bars, but when you make me do all of it at the same time, in a specific order, in a very timed fashion, it's overwhelming. It's like a puzzle platformer. It's just unnecessary trial and error in a series where such a thing should not be allowed. Maybe only for secret areas that are hard to get to make it feel more rewarding for exploration's sake, but not for mandatory story progression. I need to get on the other side of that fucking bullshit. Fortunately, this was the only real gripe I had with the whole game, but at times it was a doozy.
Bruh.
And throughout my playthrough, the only bugs I came across were lost souls getting stuck somehow, like this one, in the air. It's just stuck, looking at me. And, more frequently stuck behind a wall or under a floor. I can only imagine it being game-breaking if the area required you to kill everything in order to proceed, which it does sometimes. But even so, a simple checkpoint restart should resolve that. Alright, I'm all done with talking about the campaign, but before I wrap up this review, I'd like to talk about the new multiplayer for a few minutes. The 1 versus 2 battle mode everyone's been talking about. From what I've played so far, I like it. It's definitely more interesting than the previous Doom's multiplayer counterpart, which wasn't bad, it was just a tad generic. This mode is much more intense. The Slayer player needs to be very skilled dealing with everything the 2 demon players throw at him, and the 2 demons need to work together and have each other's backs. Whichever side wins 3 rounds first wins the match. I feel like the demons have an unfair advantage in the field, however, and let me explain. First of all, the Slayer is absolutely alone. Not only is he outmatched 1 to 2, but he also needs to worry about everything else they spawn to fight against him as well. Plus, the Slayer also needs to kill both demons within a certain time frame, or else the first killed demon always respawns over and over and over again. There's like literally no limit to how many times a demon can be respawned. So when you put this into perspective, the 1 versus 2 will suddenly feel like 1 versus 20, at least. I win more matches as a demon than I do as the Slayer. And that's just not right. Doom Guy is supposed to kick ass, so they should nerf the demon team's abilities a bit. I would go as far as to remove demon spawning entirely. It's only fair since the Slayer can't respawn in the same round. So why do the demons get a second pass? Why do I have to beat both of them in a certain time frame? That means I would have to like lower down both their health bars and then kill one and then kill the other immediately after. That's just kind of stupid. Whether you win or lose each round though, the match gives you additional perks at the start of every second round onwards to give you a slight advantage. There are 5 demons to choose from. There's the Mancubus, Revenant, Marauder, Pain Elemental, and the Archvile. Overall, the multiplayer is way more exciting to play than Doom 2016's, but I'm really curious to see if they'll patch some things to make it more fair on both sides. And I hope that they do. I hope that they make it better for everyone. At the end of the day, I think I'll give this game the same score I gave the last Doom. A 9 out of 10. I loved the way the story played out. I learned to love the combat. I'm liking the new multiplayer mode, but the platforming I do not enjoy. That's the only thing that's keeping this from really being a potential 10 out of 10. It might very well be the best Doom yet, or it might not. But I'm pretty sure it's at least as amazing as the reboot. And if you were a fan in 2016, I'm pretty sure you will find plenty to enjoy in Eternal as well. Unless you only like the snap map editor though, then you're shit out of luck here. I'd also like to give a fast shout out to Doom 64, a game everyone who pre-ordered Eternal, myself included, got for free. It seems to be a really good port so far. The lighting seems to be fixed and the controls are still a little finicky, having been translated from the wacky N64 controller, but overall it feels relatively fine. I'd probably rate this an 8 out of 10. For those who didn't pre-order Eternal and never were able to play 64 or want to play it again, it's only $4.99, which is more than worth it in my book. So I guess that'll do it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time in Resident Evil 3 and Resistance. Thank you for watching.
The Gamer Gods!